because the Iranians understand that the United States, and especially the Israelis, want a new version of the JCPOA. And the Iranians surely understand that they don't want to negotiate that up front. They'll keep that till the end.
Isn't this whole invasion or attack on Iran a good reason why Iran should have a nuclear weapon that would deter these types of attacks? Nobody attacks North Korea. Nobody attacks Pakistan.
Well, there's no question about that. As I often say, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak once said that the reason he thinks Iran is pursuing nuclear weapons is because it makes so much sense. And of course, he's correct. We, of course, have gone to great lengths to make sure Iran doesn't get nuclear weapons. But at this point in time, given what's happened, the Iranians have powerful incentive to acquire nuclear weapons. And by the way, the problem has been compounded by the fact that it's quite clear that the Saudis want a nuclear enrichment capability that's akin to the one that the Iranians have. And that means that should the Saudis get that nuclear enrichment capability, they will, like the Iranians, have the ability to get a bomb somewhere down the road. And of course, this has all sorts of consequences for countries like Turkey and Egypt and Iraq as they watch what's happening with Iran. They surely understand the logic that you just laid out vis-a-vis Iran. They see what's happening with Saudi Arabia and that it's moving to get a nuclear enrichment capability, and they'll all want one too. So the danger of nuclear proliferation as a result of this war has increased significantly. And this is just another factor that we can add to that list I laid out at the beginning of the show of the downsides of this war.
What has the war done to the American relationship with its, I don't know if it's present, but it's certainly former allies in the Gulf?
Oh, it's done significant damage. There's no question about it. The fact that the United States and Israel started this war and the Gulf states were not driving the train matters when you take into account what actually then happened. These Gulf states were targeted. Great damage was done to them. And great damage was done to the alliance structure that they thought was going to provide security for them. Can they trust the Americans going forward? Are they going to want the Americans to rebuild the bases on their territory, since those bases have proven to be giant magnets for Iranian ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones? I doubt it. But there's no question that this war has done significant damage to relations between the United States and the various states in the Gulf.
What tricks does Prime Minister Netanyahu have up his sleeve when he meets with President Trump in the White House later today?
I don't think he has any tricks. I think this is going to be a pretty straightforward discussion of two big issues. One is going to be what Trump does moving forward vis-a-vis Iran. And in that case, I think it's quite clear the Israelis want us to continue the war, go back to a tit-for-tat campaign, maybe go back to a major strategic bombing campaign. But the Iranians will push Trump not to end the war. And Trump, of course, I think now understands that he has to end this war sooner.
You said the Iranians, you mean the Israelis. The Israelis will push Trump not to end the war.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, the Israelis.
Yeah.
So that'll be issue number one. And then issue number two will be southern Lebanon and even Gaza and southern Syria. I think that Trump will push the Israelis to leave southern Lebanon, because I believe the Iranians are saying this time the Israelis have to leave southern Lebanon before we agree to another memorandum of understanding. And furthermore, Trump has a vested interest at this point in time in getting the Israelis out of southern Syria, because he's developing close quite close relations with the Syrian leadership. And also, I think he'd like to get the Israelis out of Gaza so that he can work out some sort of modus vivendi in Gaza. So there'll be, I think, significant disagreement between Netanyahu on one hand and Trump on the other hand on two issues. One, what to do with Iran moving forward, and what to do with Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon, southern Syria, and Gaza.
But can you envision the IDF leaving southern Lebanon, southern Syria, and Gaza on its own voluntarily? Could you imagine, even conjure Netanyahu giving that order?
No, but the question is, can President Trump coerce the Israelis to leave any one of those locations? That's the question. Is Trump willing to play hardball? Here's a possible situation moving forward. What if the Iranians say to Trump that we will not even negotiate a memorandum of understanding until the Israelis are out of southern Lebanon, just southern Lebanon? What is Trump going to do at that point? Trump is under tremendous pressure to shut this war down. And if the Iranians won't talk, they won't play ball until the Israelis are out of southern Lebanon, there's going to be powerful incentives at play for Trump to try to coerce Netanyahu to leave southern Lebanon. So to go back to your point, they won't leave on their own. This is the Israelis. They won't leave southern Lebanon on their own. But the question is, can Trump use his powerful position to get the Israelis to leave?
How stable or unstable is Israeli society in this time?
Well, I think that Israeli society is very unstable underneath the surface. I think what you see, because Israel is at war on so many fronts, is that it looks like things are quite stable. There's no question you have an election coming up, and the two or three sides, however you want to count them, are battling with each other. But Israel looks quite stable on the surface. I believe that once this war against Iran comes to an end, what you will see is an eruption of forces that reflect the tremendous dissatisfaction that's sitting there underneath the surface, and the lines of fracture among the various groups inside of Israel, I think, will manifest themselves in obvious and nasty ways once the fighting stops.
And how unstable is the Netanyahu government?
Well, I think there's a good chance that Netanyahu will be defeated in these upcoming elections in the fall. But as you and I have talked about before, you can never rule Netanyahu out. He is a wily politician of the first order, and he may very well survive. I'm not sure it makes much difference who wins in Israel. I don't think, any of the alternative candidates are very different than Netanyahu himself.
Well, the people that are competing for prime minister seem to try and be outdoing each other in their bluster for a hardline attitude toward Iran. So you're right. You're right. The only difference is in Netanyahu's personality and personal baggage.
Yeah, and it's not only the Iran issue, it's also the Palestinian issue. All of them are interested in the Greater Israel Project, and all of them are interested in ethnically cleansing the Palestinians from Gaza and from the West Bank. You don't hear any of the other candidates criticizing the genocide in Gaza. In fact, they were basically cheerleaders when the Gaza the invasion of Gaza by the Israelis started back in October of 2023. And they have not protested at any point along the way.